again to Frequently Asked Questions Friday. Today what we're going to do is, instead of doing frequently asked questions, I'm going to introduce one of our newer lawyers here at the firm for people that don't know him, and then we're going to talk a little bit about our scholarship, which we just had. So the scholarship, not drawing, but contest. So this is Christian Menzies. He's a new attorney. You want to tell us a bit about yourself, Christian?
I went to Michigan State Law School. I was born in El Paso, been in Corpus now for a total of about 3 years. And undergrad, I graduated from UTEP in El Paso.
Okay. Why'd you go to Michigan for law school?
I wanted to get out of Texas, try something different, as well as, honestly, they gave me a really good scholarship, something that I could not deny.
Okay, well, that's always good reason to do it. So when did you come back to Texas?
I graduated in May 2016, so yes, that's when I came back, and then I studied for the bar, passed the bar in November 2016, and been practicing since.
Okay. And was over here your first job, or?
No, I started at another firm here in Corpus Christi.
Okay.
Then started here at Herrman Herrman in April of this year, in 2017.
All right. And why did you want to get into personal injury law?
Personal injury, I myself was in a car accident back in 2009. I had an attorney who helped me out, and I find that this is an area of law that sometimes people need help with. They're not able to deal with insurance companies on their own. Insurance companies don't want to cover medical expenses and give them anything for pain and suffering. So I found that this is a good way to help out as many people as possible, and it's something that we need on a daily basis because we all drive cars.
Okay. Okay, so we had our annual scholarship, and I'm going to announce the winners today. I'm not going to tell you who's first, second, or third. We'll save that for next week. We're going to do something with that, but I'm going to tell you who the winners are, and they're not in this order. So I mixed the order up. So just because you hear your name first or last or in the middle doesn't mean you're first, second, or third. So one of the winners is Lauren Skidmore, or Moorer, from Lexington, Kentucky. Another winner is Micah Stewart from Indianapolis, Indiana. And the third winner, again, these are not in any particular order, is actually from Beeville, Texas, Zachary Moreno. So good job, you guys. Everybody else that entered, I'm sorry you didn't win, but you can enter again for next year. And you three stay tuned for next week, and we're going to get a hold of you, and we're going to let you know who got first, who got second, and who got third, and we're going to present you with your money. So, anyway, so Christian and I were going to talk just a little bit about the scholarship contest. It was basically you had to write an essay on autonomous driving vehicles. You know, how's that going to change your life, change society? What's that going to mean for us? And these folks all brought up some good points, and so we thought we'd just go over a few of them. And one of the points was they said, hey, man, this is really going to affect you guys, personal injury lawyers, because accidents may become a whole lot less frequent if you got, robots driving cars. So, Christian, what's your opinion about that?
I think it is possible, especially when the technology advances, but I have actually seen one case that has come up. It was with one of the Tesla cars that's sort of autonomous. It can keep within one lane, and it was sort of, it came up to a blind spot where an 18-wheeler was across the highway, and it didn't spot it, so it just went straight on, and it ended up causing actually a death. But I think, obviously, as technology advances, it might be possible that there will be a lot less accidents than there are now because it will start doing away with some human error. So that I think it is a possibility.
And I would add that I think what's going to do is turn a lot of just regular personal injury cases into products liability cases, because now you're suing the manufacturers of the vehicle if they're, or the software, if that's not working.
Yeah, the question is going to become who's liable now.
Yeah. And then also, I think, like, I've got some stuff on my vehicle that, like, same thing, it's supposed to stop in front of a car if it gets too close, but it doesn't always work, or you think it's supposed to work, but I accidentally disengaged it when I didn't mean to. So I think that could still be my error, because I thought I had it's called distronic. So I thought I had the distronic on, and I didn't. I disengaged it, and so I'm cruising along, and I'm not really paying attention because I think the car's going to stop for me, and it doesn't. So
Yeah.
So I think there may be a lot of those type of cases too.
Oh yes, definitely.
Which brings up another point that was made, is somebody said, well, who's to blame in an accident if there's two autonomous vehicles and they do have an accident, or if you have an autonomous vehicle and one's autonomous, one's not, and they're in an accident, who would be to blame in that kind of scenario?
Yeah, I guess some people might start to try to blame at least the company that developed this technology, such as the car manufacturer or whoever they're using for this technology. But then again, it's the driver themselves. You're the one supposed to be driving the car. So you need to be careful. You need to be on the lookout. You can't just be relying on the technology and then blame it when it fails.
Right. Although if it actually does fail, you might have a case against
Very true.
the manufacturer of the vehicle or the software, or
yes, for malfunction.
Could be a sensor fails, or radar fails, or something on there. So whoever does that, you might have a case there.
Yeah, I think this is definitely going to be a new area of law. A lot of interesting things are going to come up within the next few years.
Robot law. Okay, another point was made was organs being donated. They said, hey, if there's less accidents and less people getting killed, then there's less organs to be donated. What's your thoughts there?
I think this is a big possibility. Obviously, there are a lot of deaths from car accidents, and a lot of them are organ donors. But on the other hand, I've seen with the new technology, they're starting to develop organs with computers, things like that. So maybe that'll even out in the end.
There you go, and I think they can even grow certain organs now too, with stem cells and stuff.
Yes.
So that'd be a wonderful deal. Just grow your own. Your kidneys fail, just go grow yourself a kidney in the lab and replace it. So.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, and then another point was the price of cars will increase with the technology. Do you have an opinion there?
I think so, especially during the first few years. I think the first autonomous cars will have a nice price tag coming with it. But as the other manufacturers start to compete, the prices will eventually even out. So I think at first there will be a spike, but it will eventually even out.
And then once Amazon comes in, they'll force all the prices down.
Oh, yes. I'll ship your car to you.
That's right. Delivered to your doorstep. Okay, and then finally, somebody said, do you think there's going to be a slippery slope of human dependence, humans dependent on technology?
I think that's a valid point. You start becoming reliant on these things. You just hop in your car, maybe tell it to take you to work, and you're maybe even multitasking during it. So I think it definitely is. As new technology, it's easier ways to do things. You find ways to multitask, things like that. So I think that's a good valid point.
Yeah, I'll point to a couple of examples. I don't know if anyone remembers, but a couple of years ago there was a Japanese air flight that crashed going into San Francisco airport, and it just crashed just short of the runway, in the water, half in the water, half on the runway. Because that airport sits on like a peninsula. And the conclusion of the National Transportation Board that supervises that, they decided that the pilots had gotten too dependent on what's it called, the air pilot, the
Traffic control.
the pilots when they put like
Autopilot.
They said the pilots had gotten so dependent on autopilot, even to land the plane, that when suddenly something went wrong with it, they didn't know how to land that plane, and it was really human error that caused the crash because they weren't capable of landing the plane because they'd been so dependent on letting the plane land itself.
Yes.
So I think that's a real good example. The other example is, again, back to me. I notice I get kind of lazy in my car because I've got all these things like, the Distronic that slows you down. I've got lane assist. I got alerts. I got all this stuff that happens. And like if I go to another town and I rent a car, I'm like, well, wait a minute. Why isn't the car slowing down? Why isn't it alerting me that I'm switching lanes? Or why didn't it alert me that somebody's in my periphery and don't move over? And I forget, oh yeah, this car doesn't have all the stuff my car has. And when I first start driving, I'm kind of a hazard. I'm kind of a hazard out there until I start remembering. Oh yeah. This is. I gotta go back to like the olden days now.
Yeah, right.
Driving old vehicles. So, anyway, Christian, any additional thoughts or comments you want to make before we close things out here?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay. All right. Well, I did want to tell everybody we're not going to be on next week, and I'm not sure about the following Friday yet. There's some other stuff on my schedule I need to do, but hopefully if we're not on next week, we'll be on the week after that. If not, then it'll be the following week for sure. So thanks everybody again. Thanks for tuning in for another FAQ Friday, and I'm glad you got to meet Christian. So thanks for today.